Welcome to a clinical examination of the human condition. In today's explainer, we're documenting an entirely inescapable phenomenon with absolute, unflinching seriousness. Yes, we are investigating procrastination. And let me warn you right up front, nothing you're about to hear has been exaggerated. In fact, our field researchers confirm that somehow the reality is actually much worse. Let's dive in. Our observation begins right in the natural habitat of the modern worker. At exactly 9 a.m., our human subject sits down with pure, unadulterated intention to get to work. But by 9:01 a.m., that exact same subject is inexplicably watching a high-definition video about deep-sea creatures. It's truly fascinating. This single minute launches a chaotic cascade of unrelated tabs, phantom notifications, and totally forgotten ambitions. And the best part? This happens every single day to practically every person on Earth without exception. Let's open Case File 1. The 5-minute illusion.
Observe the subject's absolute primary defense mechanism. Listen closely as they confidently utter a phrase our researchers have recorded across thousands of households. It's a universal lie whispered to the self. I'll start in 5 minutes. The confidence here is palpable. The delusion is absolute.
But our field instruments have captured the actual, terrifying math. Brace yourselves for this critical data point, because the average real-world duration of this so-called 5 minutes is, in stark reality, 3 hours and 12 minutes. It's a stunning, almost beautiful distortion of space and time. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what happens in that temporal void. We officially call it the sequence of doom. It's a highly reliable descent that begins with just one innocent phone check, which rapidly mutates into 40. This is inevitably followed by a prolonged, intense phase of deliberation over a snack. And finally, the sequence bottoms out into an unrelated Wikipedia deep dive on a topic the subject will literally never, ever need to know or think about again. By the time our subject finally breaks out of this trance and looks up from their glowing screen, the sun has literally moved across the sky. Possibly the season itself has changed. Meanwhile, that original task remains completely untouched, sitting exactly where they left it.
Moving right along to Case File 2, the productive avoider. Now we get to observe a subject who engages in a far more complex and, frankly, dangerous defense mechanism. You see, this particular subject does not mindlessly scroll. Oh no. This subject does something profoundly insidious. They become highly productive at the exact wrong things. They perfectly split their reality. In one realm, we have one desperately ignored, highly important email. To avoid it, they enter a manic state of survival. Deep cleaning an entire kitchen, alphabetizing a massive bookshelf, and building an elaborate color-coded schedule. That's 5 completed, entirely unnecessary chores, all to run away from one actual deadline.
But what is truly fascinating here, and honestly deeply offensive to all established logic, is the psychological state of our subject. Investigators note that they actually feel incredibly productive the entire time. They experience genuine accomplishment after color-coding a schedule that they will literally never open, admire exactly once, and never follow again. It's the cruelest twist in our entire case file.
Finally, we arrive at Case File 3, the deadline miracle. This part of our investigation brings us to a borderline supernatural phenomenon. It happens to every subject, regardless of background, personality, or prior effort. Some researchers believe it shouldn't even be studied, just feared. The sudden, inexplicable transformation is striking. Week 1, I'll get to it. Week 2, I'll get to it. Week 3, I'll get to it. That's 3 solid weeks of absolutely zero progress on a task that felt completely impossible for 21 straight days. And then, the subject collapses all of their remaining life force into a frantic 45-minute window of sheer superhuman focus right before the buzzer.
The biological changes observed during this 45-minute window are staggering. Typing speed essentially doubles. All earthly distractions miraculously vanish from their consciousness. The impossible task is magically submitted with exactly 4 minutes to spare. It's handed in by a subject with visibly shaking hands, an elevated heart rate, and a severely diminished life expectancy, which is immediately followed by a recovery nap that lasts the rest of the day. So, what does this all mean? Well, the final scientific verdict of our explainer today is simply this. Procrastination is not a bug in the human operating system. It is not a flaw to be fixed. It is in fact a fully developed lifestyle. It comes complete with its own strict rules, its own tragic heroes, and of course, its own pulse-pounding last-minute miracles.
And that officially wraps up our wildly, uncomfortably relatable investigation here on The Time Waste Show. We've laid out the data, we've exposed the illusions, so the only logical question left for you is this. Will you finally log off and do your actual work right now? Or will you just hit subscribe, stay right where you are, and find another one of our explainers to brilliantly avoid your responsibilities? The choice, as always, is entirely yours.